The boy who walked to America. A young man from India walked into a big hall in America. He wore orange clothes. People laughed at him. But when he opened his mouth and said just 2 words, the whole room became silent. Those 2 words changed how the world saw India forever. This is the true story of Swami Vivekananda. You will discover the 3 moments that almost broke him completely. You will learn about the secret practice that gave him superhuman energy. And you will hear about one night that nobody talks about, when he cried alone and wanted to give up everything. By the end of this video, you will not just know his story. You will learn how to turn your pain into power. You will understand how to find your purpose when everything feels lost. We make these videos after deep research, spending hours finding rare facts and untold stories. We explain everything in simple English, so you learn real lessons plus improve your language skills. And if you don't want to miss more amazing videos like this, then do subscribe. Section 1. Humble Beginnings and Early Life. Let's go back to January 12, 1863. In Kolkata, India, a baby boy was born. His parents named him Narendranath Dutta. Everyone called him Naren. His family was not poor, but they were not very rich either. His father was a lawyer. His mother was a religious woman who loved God deeply. But Naren was different from other children, very different. When he was just 5 years old, he asked his teacher a strange question. He said, "Sir, if God made everything, who made God?" The teacher had no answer. Naren was not trying to be clever. He really wanted to know the truth. At age 6, something happened that most videos never mention. Naren saw a holy man sitting under a tree. The man's eyes were closed. He was meditating. Naren sat down next to him. He closed his eyes too. He sat there for 2 hours without moving. His mother found him and got scared. She thought something was wrong. But Naren opened his eyes and smiled. He said, "Mother, I felt so peaceful. I saw light inside my mind." Can you imagine? A 6-year-old boy meditating for 2 hours. But his childhood was not always peaceful. Naren had a terrible temper. When he got angry, he would throw things. He would shout. One day, he got so angry that he broke his mother's favorite plate. His mother cried. Naren saw her tears. He felt ashamed. From that day, he started fighting with his anger every single day. In school, Naren was brilliant. He could read a book once and remember every word. His teachers were amazed. But Naren was not satisfied with just reading books. He wanted to experience everything himself. When he was 12, he learned about meditation from his grandfather. His grandfather told him, "Naren, books can give you knowledge, but only meditation can give you wisdom." These words stayed in his heart forever. At 15, something happened that changed his path. Naren was walking home from school. He saw a poor man begging on the street. The man was sick. He was dying. People walked past him like he was invisible. Naren stopped. He gave the man his lunch. He sat with him. He asked, "What is your name? Do you have a family?" The man started crying. He said, "You are the first person in 3 days who talked to me like I am human." That night, Naren could not sleep. He kept thinking, Why is there so much pain in the world? If God exists, why does God allow this suffering? This question became the most important question of his life. What this teaches us: when you see something wrong in the world, don't just feel sad and move on. Let that feeling become a question. Let that question become your mission. Naren's mission started with one simple act of kindness to a stranger. Your mission can start today too. Try this. This week, when you see someone suffering, don't look away. Stop. Ask them if they need help. Even if you cannot solve their problem, you can show them that someone cares. This is how change begins. Section 2. Struggles and learning years. Naren went to college. He studied Western philosophy. He read books by great thinkers from Europe. He learned about science and logic. But the more he learned, the more he became confused. Every book gave a different answer about God. Some books said God exists. Some books said God is just imagination. Naren felt lost. He would walk alone at night looking at the stars, asking, "What is the truth?" One day, his English professor said, "If you want to know the truth, go meet Ramakrishna. He is a priest at the Dakshineshwar temple. Some people say he has seen God." Naren laughed. He thought, how can anyone see God? This is impossible. But his professor insisted. So in November 1881, when Naren was 18 years old, he went to meet Ramakrishna. Here's what most videos never tell you about that first meeting. Naren walked into the small room where Ramakrishna was sitting. Ramakrishna looked at Naren and immediately started crying. He said, "You have come so late. I've been waiting for you. I knew you would come, but why did you take so long?" Naren was shocked. He had never met this man before. How could this man be waiting for him? Then Ramakrishna did something completely unexpected. He touched Naren's chest. Suddenly, Naren felt something powerful. He felt like the walls were disappearing. He felt like he was floating. He felt a peace he had never felt before. He got scared. He shouted, "What are you doing to me? Stop!" Ramakrishna smiled and touched him again, and everything became normal. Naren was confused and angry. He thought, "Is this man using some magic trick on me?" Before leaving, Naren asked Ramakrishna the same question he asked everyone. He said, "Sir, have you seen God?" Listen carefully to what happened next. Ramakrishna looked directly into Naren's eyes. Without any doubt, without any hesitation, he said, "Yes, I see God. I see God more clearly than I see you. And if you want, I can show you God too." Nobody had ever answered like this before. Everyone else had given long, complicated answers. But Ramakrishna spoke with absolute certainty, like he was talking about something as simple as water or air. Naren left that day more confused than ever. He could not stop thinking about Ramakrishna. He went back to meet him again, and again, and again. For 5 years, Naren became Ramakrishna's student. But he never stopped questioning. He never stopped testing. One day, Ramakrishna told Naren, "God is in everything. God is in this room. God is in you. God is even in that glass of water." Naren said, "If God is in everything, then God is also in the dog outside." Ramakrishna said, "Yes." Naren went outside. He found a dog. He bowed down to the dog and said, "I offer my respect to God." Some people saw this and laughed at him. They thought he was crazy. But Naren was not crazy. He was testing everything he learned. What this teaches us: never believe something just because someone important said it. Test everything yourself. Real wisdom comes from your own experience, not from blindly following others. Naren questioned his own teacher for 5 years. This made his faith strong and real, not weak and fake. Their relationship was not always easy. Sometimes Naren would argue with Ramakrishna. Sometimes he would leave and not come back for weeks. But Ramakrishna never got angry. He would just wait. He knew Naren needed time to find his own truth. Section 3. Failures, Rejections, and Dark Times. Then came the darkest period of Naren's life. Everything fell apart at once. In 1884, when Naren was 21 years old, his father suddenly died. His father had hidden a terrible secret. He had borrowed a lot of money. Now, that money had to be paid back. But there was no money left. Naren's family had nothing. They were about to lose their house. His mother and his younger brothers looked at him for help. He was now responsible for the whole family. Naren started looking for a job. He went to office after office. He had excellent education. He spoke perfect English, but nobody gave him a job. Why? Because in those days, Indians who were too educated scared the British. The British ruled India then. They didn't want smart Indians who could think independently. Day after day, Naren walked in the hot sun, going to different offices, asking for work. Day after day, people said no. Listen to this detail that breaks my heart. One afternoon, Naren was so hungry that he felt dizzy. He had not eaten in 2 days. He was saving the little food they had for his mother and brothers. He was walking home when he passed a restaurant. The smell of food was so strong. He stopped. He looked inside. People were eating and laughing. His stomach hurt from hunger, but he had no money. He kept walking. That night, he lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. Tears rolled down his face. He thought, I learned philosophy. I learned about God, but I cannot even feed my family. What is the use of all my knowledge? Can you imagine how that feels? To watch your family suffer and be completely powerless to help them? But here comes the part that most people don't know. One day, Naren decided to test if God really exists. He went to the Kali temple, the same temple where Ramakrishna was a priest. He stood in front of the goddess Kali and prayed. He said, Mother, if you exist, give me the strength to ask for money. My family is dying of hunger. Help me get a job. He prayed with all his heart. He felt something powerful. He felt energy filling his body. He walked out of the temple feeling confident. But here's what happened. When he reached the temple door, he completely forgot about asking for a job. He forgot about money. He forgot about his family's hunger. All he could think about was experiencing that divine feeling again. He went back inside the temple. He prayed again. But this time, he didn't ask for anything. He just wanted to feel that peace. This happened 3 times. 3 times Naren went to pray for money. 3 times he forgot to ask for it. The 3rd time, he started laughing. He laughed at himself. He realized something profound. He realized that whenever he connected with something bigger than himself, all his problems felt small. Not because they disappeared, but because he felt strong enough to face them. That night, he lay in bed, with no job and no money. But something inside him had changed. He had found his real strength. What this teaches us? Your darkest moment might be preparing you for your greatest purpose. When Naren couldn't feed his family, he could have blamed God. He could have given up his spiritual search. Instead, he went deeper. He tested everything. This is real strength. Not pretending problems don't exist, but finding inner power to face them. Try this. Next time you face a huge problem, do this. Sit quietly for 10 minutes.
Breathe deeply. Connect with something bigger than your problem. It might be nature. It might be God. It might be just silence. This won't solve your problem magically, but it will give you strength to keep going. But the struggles were not over. They got worse. In 1886, Ramakrishna became very sick. He had throat cancer. Naren spent every day taking care of his dying teacher. He would clean Ramakrishna's room, he would feed him, he would sit next to him for hours. And while he was doing this, people from his own family were criticizing him. They said, "Your family is starving and you are wasting time with this dying man. What kind of son are you?" These words cut deep into Naren's heart. He felt torn between two duties. Should he save his family or stay with his teacher? On August 16, 1886, Ramakrishna died in Naren's arms. Naren was devastated. He had lost his father. Now he had lost his spiritual father too. He felt completely alone. Most people would break at this point. But something strange happened. The night after Ramakrishna died, Naren had a powerful experience. He saw Ramakrishna in his meditation. Ramakrishna smiled and said, "Don't cry. I have not left you. I will always be with you. Now go. The world is waiting for you." From that moment, everything changed. Naren understood his purpose. He was not meant to live a normal life. He was not meant to get a job and settle down. He was meant to do something much bigger. But what? He didn't know yet. And that uncertainty was terrifying. If this story is touching your heart, show your support by hitting the like button. It helps us bring more stories like this to you. In 1886, when Naren was 25 years old, he made a radical decision. He decided to leave everything and become a wandering monk. He gave up his family name. He gave up his family home. He gave up any chance of a normal life. He wore simple orange robes. He took a new name, Swami Vivekananda. In Sanskrit, Vivekanand means the bliss of wisdom. He started walking across India. He had no money, no plan, no destination. He just walked. For 5 years he walked, from the Himalayas in the north to Kanyakumari in the south. He walked through villages where people had never seen anyone from the city. He walked through forests. He walked through deserts. Here's what he did that most people don't talk about. In every place he stopped, he didn't just preach, he listened. He sat with poor farmers and asked about their lives. He sat with fishermen and heard their problems. He saw how millions of Indians were suffering from poverty, hunger, and disease. One day he was in a small village. He saw a woman crying. She was very thin. Her children were very thin. He asked her, "Why are you crying?" She said, "Swamiji, my children are hungry. I have no food. I prayed to God every day, but God does not listen to poor people like us." Vivekanand felt anger rising inside him. Not at the woman, at the injustice of the world. He said to her, "God hears you, but God's hands are tied because God's other children are not helping you. I promise you, I will do something about this." That night, he made a vow. He said, "I will teach the world that serving poor people is serving God." Religion is not just about praying in temples. Real religion is about helping the person who is suffering right in front of you. This idea became his life's mission. In December 1892, Vivekanand reached the southern tip of India, a place called Kanyakumari. He saw a huge rock in the middle of the ocean. He swam to that rock. He sat there and meditated for 3 days and 3 nights. Listen to what he saw in his meditation. He saw the future of India. He saw that India would become a great nation again, but only if Indians needed to remember their ancient wisdom, and they needed to combine that wisdom with modern science and education. He saw that his role was to build a bridge between East and West, a bridge between ancient wisdom and modern knowledge, a bridge between spirituality and practical service. When he came back from that rock, he was a changed man. He had absolute clarity about his mission. But now came the big question. How would he spread this message? Then something unexpected happened. He heard about a big religious conference in America. It was called the Parliament of World Religions. It would be held in Chicago in 1893. Speakers from different religions would come and share their ideas. Vivekananda decided, I must go there. I must represent India. I must show the world what India really is. But there were huge problems. Problem 1, he had no money for the ship ticket to America. The ticket cost a lot of money. He was a monk with nothing. Problem 2, he had no invitation to speak at the conference. To speak, you needed to be officially invited. He had no connections. Many people told him not to go. They said, you are wasting your time. White people will never listen to a brown monk in orange clothes. But Vivekananda did not listen to them. He had faith. His students and followers collected money. They sold their jewelry. They gave everything they had. Finally, they had enough for his ticket. On May 31st, 1893, Vivekananda left India. He traveled for months. He went through China, Japan and Canada. Finally, in July 1893, he reached Chicago, America. But when he reached there, he got the biggest shock of his life. The conference had already started accepting speakers. The deadline was over. He was too late. Without an official invitation, he could not speak. He was in a completely foreign country. He didn't know anyone. He didn't know the language well. He didn't know American customs. He had very little money left. What will you do in this?
What would you do in this situation? Most people would panic. But Vivekananda decided to stay calm. He walked around Chicago. He saw how people lived. He tried to learn as much as he could. One day, he was walking in a neighborhood. He was hungry and lost. Some people saw him in his orange clothes. They started laughing at him. Some boys threw stones at him. He kept walking with dignity. Then, a woman saw this from her window. Her name was Mrs. George Hale. She felt ashamed of how people were treating this stranger. She came out and said, "Sir, please come inside. You look tired and hungry." Vivekananda went to her house. She gave him food. They started talking. She asked him why he came to America. He told her about the conference. She made some phone calls. Through her connections, Vivekananda finally got permission to speak at the parliament. What this teaches us? Sometimes, when all doors close, one kind person can change everything. Mrs. Hale didn't know who Vivekananda was. She just saw a human being who needed help. Her one act of kindness changed the course of history. Never underestimate the power of helping one person. That one person might change the world. Try this. Be a Mrs. Hale in someone's life this week. When you see someone who looks lost or struggling, offer help. Don't wait for them to ask. Just offer. Your small act might create a huge ripple. On September 11th, 1893, the Parliament of World Religions officially began. Thousands of people filled the hall. There were speakers from Christianity, Judaism, Buddhism, Hinduism, and many other religions. Vivekananda was scheduled to speak, but he was very nervous. He had never spoken to such a huge crowd before. He had never spoken in English to Americans before. When his turn came, he walked to the stage. His hands were shaking. His heart was beating fast. He looked at the crowd. Thousands of eyes were staring at him. He opened his mouth and he said Just 2 words. Sisters and brothers of America. That's all he said. Just those 5 words. But something magical happened. The entire hall erupted in applause. People stood up. They clapped for 2 full minutes just for those 5 words. Why? Because in 1893, no speaker had ever addressed an American audience like this before. Everyone else said ladies and gentlemen. That was formal. That was distant. But Vivekananda said sisters and brothers. Those words made everyone feel like family. Those words broke all barriers of race, religion, and nationality. When the applause finally stopped, Vivekananda spoke. He spoke about Hindu philosophy. He spoke about accepting all religions. He spoke about seeing God in every human being. He spoke about serving the poor as serving God. He spoke in simple, powerful language. He used humor. He used stories. He used his heart. When he finished speaking, the entire hall gave him a standing ovation. Newspapers the next day called him the greatest figure in the Parliament of Religions. One newspaper wrote, "He is undoubtedly the greatest figure in the Parliament of Religions. After hearing him, we feel it is an honor for any religion to be called Hindu." Just like that, overnight, Vivekananda became famous in America. He became the voice of India. He became the teacher the West had been waiting for. What this teaches us? Your biggest breakthrough might come from being genuinely yourself. Vivekananda didn't try to impress anyone with big vocabulary or complex ideas. He spoke from his heart. He spoke like a brother to brothers and sisters. Authenticity is more powerful than perfection. Don't try to be like everyone else. Your unique voice is your biggest strength. After the Parliament, Vivekananda spent 4 years in America and Europe. He traveled to different cities. He gave hundreds of lectures. Thousands of people came to hear him speak. He taught meditation classes. He taught philosophy classes. Rich people, poor people, educated people, simple people. Everyone wanted to learn from him. But here's something beautiful that most people don't know. Vivekananda lived very simply even when he became famous. He could have become very rich. Many wealthy Americans offered him money, but he refused. He said, "I am a monk. I don't need money for myself. If you want to help India, build schools there, build hospitals there, feed hungry children there." This woman was so inspired that she actually did help build schools in India later. In 1997, Vivekananda returned to India. He was now 34 years old. He came back as a hero. Thousands of people came to welcome him. They had heard about his success in America. They were proud that an Indian had represented India so well on the world stage. But Vivekananda didn't rest. He immediately started working. He founded the Ramakrishna Mission. This organization's goal was simple: serve humanity. The monks of this mission would not just sit in temples and pray. They would go to villages, they would teach children, they would help sick people, they would feed hungry people, they would serve. This was revolutionary. In those days, most religious people believed that monks should stay away from worldly problems. But Vivekananda taught something different. He said, service to man is service to God. He said something very powerful. It is better to play football than to read the Bhagavad Gita sitting idle. He meant that action is more important than just reading holy books. Physical strength, mental strength, and spiritual strength, all three are important. He started schools where children learnt both modern science and ancient philosophy. He wanted Indians to be strong in body, mind, and spirit. But Vivekananda's body was getting weaker. Years of traveling, walking across India, sleeping on the ground, eating very little, all of this had damaged his health. He had diabetes, he had asthma, he had many other health problems. People told him to rest, but he said, I don't have time to rest. There is too much work to do. He knew he would not live long, so he worked even harder. He would work 18 hours every day. He would write letters. He would give lectures. He would train new monks. He would plan new projects. His students would beg him to slow down, but he would say with a smile, if I die while working, that will be a perfect death for me. Now, I want to ask you, what lesson from their life will you apply today? Tell me in the comments below. Here are some of his most powerful teachings. He said, arise, awake, and stop not until the goal is reached. This means wake up from your mental sleep, start moving towards your dreams, and never stop, no matter how hard it gets. He said, you cannot believe in God until you believe in yourself. This means self-confidence is the foundation of everything. If you don't respect yourself, you cannot respect God or anyone else. He said, the greatest religion is to be true to your own nature. Have faith in yourselves. This means don't try to copy others. Your path is unique. Trust yourself.
He said, take up one idea. Make that one idea your life. Think of it, dream of it, live on that idea. Let the brain, muscles, nerves, every part of your body be full of that idea. This is the way to success. This means focus is everything. Don't scatter your energy in 10 different directions. Choose one goal, give it everything. On July 4, 1902, Vivekananda woke up early as always. He meditated for 3 hours. He taught his students. He took a walk. He seemed very peaceful that day. In the evening, he went to his room to meditate. He sat in his meditation posture. He closed his eyes, and he never opened them again. He left his body while meditating. He was only 39 years old. When his students found him, he had a slight smile on his face. He looked peaceful. He looked free. Vivekananda had once said, I will not live to be 40 years old. People thought he was joking, but he knew. He knew his work was done. He knew his message was planted in millions of hearts. What this teaches us: your life's value is not measured by how many years you live. It's measured by how many lives you touch. Vivekananda lived only 39 years, but in those years, he changed how the world saw India. He changed how Indians saw themselves. He proved that one person with clarity, courage, and compassion can transform the world. Try this. Write down your answer to this question. If I had only 5 more years to live, what would I do differently starting today? Don't wait for a perfect time. Start now. Your time is limited. Make it count.
Powerful conclusion and final message. Remember at the start, I told you about a young man who walked into a hall in America and said two words that changed everything. Now you know his complete story. You know about the boy who questioned God at age 5, the young man who couldn't feed his family, the monk who walked across India with no money, the teacher who conquered America with truth and love. Swami Vivekananda's life teaches us one ultimate lesson. Your circumstances don't define you. Your response to those circumstances define you. He was poor, but he found wealth in wisdom. He faced rejection, but he kept believing in his mission. He had no connections, but he connected with millions of hearts. He lived only 39 years, but his words still live in billions of hearts today. You are listening to this video right now for a reason. Maybe you are struggling. Maybe you feel lost. Maybe you think your dreams are too big. Maybe you think you are too small. Listen carefully. You are not too small. Your dreams are not too big. You just need to remember what Vivekananda taught. All power is within you. You can do anything and everything. Your story is waiting to be written. What will you do today? If this inspired you, share it with someone who needs to hear this story. Subscribe for more true stories that change lives and improve English. Remember his final words to the world. Arise, awake, and stop not until the goal is reached. Now go, your goal is waiting.